Our next speaker will be discussing an important topic on adaptive mindset. Adaptive mindset is such a important, such an important area that we need to tap into. More often than not, our barriers are within our minds that are preventing us from maybe applying for that promotion or stopping us from starting that conversation more after. Today she'll be implementing a few techniques that we can show when we're facing that next in our career. So please welcome our valued supply member, Tammi Kirkness.
Hey everyone. So it might be a bit of a shifting of gears from what everybody else has been speaking about today so far. And I come from a background of executive coaching. So having done that for many years, as you may anticipate and understand, most executives are males for now. So in having a look at coaching both males and females in the executive space, that's in the corporate world, direct selling, and in the retail space as well, one of the things that I have found as the biggest differences between men and women is absolutely what Jill alluded to when she was saying about there's quite the famous study of there's a job ad, similar candidates, males and females, both have the same background to bring to it. They've got about half of what you need. The males all went, oh yeah, I'll apply, great. And the females, as Jill alluded to, they said, oh no, I've only got half of what is required. And what often comes up with that is this concept of imposter syndrome. So who here has heard of imposter syndrome before? Yeah, okay, most of us, cool. So imposter syndrome, for those who haven't heard of it, is basically when you walk into a space, let's say a boardroom, or you're ready to present, and you feel like a total fraud. Like, you feel like, oh my gosh, someone's going to find me out. They're going to know that I don't know anything about what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter about the decades of experience that you've got. In that moment, you feel like you're going to be found out, and that's the most hideous, anxiety-inducing, pit of the belly, horrific feeling ever. So I want to take you through one of the techniques that I have taught many executives throughout my time to better combat imposter syndrome. So now that we know what it is and have a better understanding of it, what do we actually do about it? So what people used to say about imposter syndrome was to do that really, it's kind of the salesy real estate agent guy kind of vibe, like, I got this, I'm the best in the field, we're all good. Whereas we actually know that that only works for a really tiny percentage of people. So if you're one of them, great, easy. But for the vast majority, as in over 90% of us, the rest of us, it doesn't work. So what we actually want to be doing is questioning the fear head on. Because imposter syndrome has its seat and its basis within fear and worry. So if we can identify the thing that is freaking us out or making us feel fraudulent in some way, and then we can address that, that's going to set us up to feel more confident to be able to walk into that boardroom meeting, or to apply for that promotion, or to ask for that pay rise, or to walk into that scary sales situation. So how do we do this? Essentially, we formulate a question that directly addresses the fear. So it's generally something to do with deservedness. So I don't deserve to be in that room. I don't deserve to be up on that stage speaking. So the question might look something like, why do I deserve to be in that room? And then once we've come up with that question, we come up with 5 really solid, chunky reasons as to why we do. So I'll give you an example. So around about, a year and a half ago, I was doing what I do all the time, which is speaking at people's conferences. And I was speaking at a conference here in New South Wales for New South Wales State Government Department. Anyway, 80 people in the room. This is what I do week in, week out. I'm so used to this. And for some reason, I walked into the room and I saw that the MC was Richard Moorcroft. Does anybody know who he is? Yeah, okay. Great. Yeah. So the ABC newsreader for about 20 years. I heard him my entire life growing up in the background of dinner. And I looked out into the audience before I was ready to go up, and everybody that was sitting in the room had been on TV at some point. And my generation, I know we're talking a lot about generational stuff, my generation idolises people who were on TV. Yeah. So walking into this room and seeing the TV people, Richard Moorcroft, I just went into the biggest tailspin of imposter syndrome, and it felt awful. It felt like anxiety, basically. The tense shoulders, the pit of my stomach, the feeling like I need to go to the bathroom, but I don't, I've got to go on stage, that kind of feel. So I thought, you know what I'll do? I'll use my own advice. What a good coach. So I created the question and I said, why do I deserve to be up on that stage? And then I had to come up with 5 really specific answers. So this is an example so you can use it back in your own businesses. So my answers were similar to things like, well, they invited me. That's probably a good place to start. They invited me to come. I have spoken on this topic globally. I have created a global program that consultants around the world are currently speaking in all different time zones on this topic. I have been doing yoga for 18 years. It was a mindfulness-based topic. And I have been meditating since I was tiny in primary school. And I went, that's okay. And what this technique doesn't do is rev you up. It doesn't make you go, oh, well, I'm the best person to be on that stage. Yes, yes, yes. It neutralises the fear, which I think is the most important thing to be doing, because if we're at an emotional vibration of down here of worry and fear and fretting and freaking out, we can't really jump up all up here to bliss and joy. It's like if somebody says to you, you know, you're having a rubbish day and somebody says, oh, but it's sunny out there and we live in Sydney, it's so delightful, you know, first world problems. That does nothing. So we can't really jump from here all the way up to here. So we want to come up halfway to where is neutralised. So to recap, essentially what we're doing is figuring out the thing that makes us feel like we don't deserve to be there or be asking that question, coming up with a question to address that directly, and then coming up with 5 really solid reasons that prove to yourself and validate that you are meant to be there. And for women, this is so vital, because the way that we've been brought up, the way that we've had conversations, seen our mums, our aunties, our grandmas, how they interacted with the world around us, of course we're going to take a little piece of that on. And even if we've got unbelievably inspiring women in our world, there is still a little piece of that that's in a lot of us. And so I think to what Jill was alluding to before as well, about enrolling men into the conversation, I am so thrilled and elevated and grateful for these men that are in the room, because this needs to be a conversation that's between all of us. And if any of you haven't seen the amazing speech to the UN by Emma Watson, has everybody seen that? Yeah, half. Okay. It is incredible, and what she talks about is the He for She campaign, which says that we need to enrol our brothers, our partners, our husbands, our dads to talk on our behalf at the same time, to really enjoy that conversation and give us that parity. And while that's going on in the background, we also need to enrol ourselves with more confidence in our capability and capacity, and that's one of the ways that we can do it. So I'm going to finish up there, and so we can move into our panel, and I'm very grateful to be in these incredible women who have also been speaking. So thank you, thank you, thank you.